Hello everyone, thanks for joining us again for another Friday session. Today we've got a very talented young South African artist in the studio. I'm going to let him introduce himself.
My name is Jake Michael Singer. I'm a transdisciplinary artist based in Johannesburg. I work predominantly in sculpture, photography and drawing.
So keeping within the nature of Jake's multidisciplinary art practice, we decided it would be a great idea to get him drawing in virtual reality. So we took him upstairs, showed him around and got him comfortable.
But then I can start scaling. I actually don't even have to move in VR. Technically I can just move the sculpture around and I can start sculpting, changing the size. If I want to make an eraser, I double tap the green gear and then I can actually literally go in and start carving out. So you can start seeing how you can start shaping. Until it feels like you can see everything. Do you wear glasses normally?
No.
Awesome. Cool. So just put that out. It's basically like a PlayStation remote cut in half.
Can you guys see what I'm seeing?
Yeah, exactly.
Next, we wanted to show Jake the possibilities of augmented reality. Being able to visualize his sculptures in a physical space with a digital overlay is of huge value to artists that want to visualize how their sculptures could look in the real world.
See how those drawing objects are now actually placed in the real world, right?
Yeah.
So you can see kind of like, if you want to grab the phone, you can sort of walk through the sculpture, just don't cover the camera. Yeah. Right. You can actually sort of see it placed as an augmentation over the real world. So like Nick was saying with your sculpture, if you want to visualize what it's going to look like in the space, you don't need a ground plane to track or whatever. It automatically spawns the sculpture where you'd like it to be, and you can sort of investigate the sculpture like in its environment as it would look from all angles. It's all kind of like there, ready to go.
What's been the most sort of outstanding part of the day today for you?
Certainly, I suppose digital sculpting. So gravity sketch I really enjoyed. It's fantastic for, I suppose, prototyping ideas, quickly coming up with ideas, also playing. And that's probably like what I was most surprised about. I always thought of digital technology as like too determined. So you almost always need to know what you're doing before you do it. But I think these sort of 3D sculpting tools changed my perception about that. Certainly from like playing, I could then come up with new and exciting forms very quickly, very easily and very sort of expediently. Once you've got right, then you can start building. Here you can just start building, see what you come up with, and it's space for experimentation.
For sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
And also like feeling the scale and being able to like
Yeah.
very freely like manipulate and move around your sculpture and feel the size of it, I think is really valuable for you.
I really felt like a sculpture could very quickly then become architecture. Yeah, which is also an exciting possibility for designing space, thinking about space, thinking about a sculpture in space.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in terms of the learning curve, like getting to know the controllers, I mean, was it
Pretty easy.
Pretty easy.
Pretty easy, yeah. Like easier than Tekken.
Yeah. And can you see yourself investing in some tools? And stuff
Definitely. Again, especially sculpting in 3D, you don't need, for example, you don't need to go buy a brick of clay and then build the armature, and then there's very little, almost it seems, preparatory work. I've been exposed to 3D modeling, predominantly in SketchUp and Rhino, and this is certainly easier to come out with form and free flow form.
And that's it for this week's session. It was an absolute pleasure having Jake in the studio. If you are a creator and would like to join us for a Friday session, why not send us an email to sessions@edenlabs.africa and tell us what you would like to explore. We'd love to hear from you. See you next week.